As a true Tron fan, one of the most interesting critiques that I love seeing on the internet is when people say, "Where is Tron in a movie where it's titled Tron?" And honestly, that is 100% valid. I'm not here to gaslight people. It is very true. Why isn't Tron in a Tron movie? But before Tron airs, people need to realize that Tron isn't necessarily a character, it's a thing. Tron is a symbol, it's a mantle, it's a revolution. Saying "Where is Tron" in a Tron movie is the equivalent to watching a Miles Morales movie and saying, "Why is it titled Spider-Man, but Peter Parker is nowhere to be found?" And that's because the story follows Miles Morales picking up the mantle as Spider-Man, not Peter Parker being Spider-Man, and it's still a great story. So let's talk about it, and I'm about to explain it to you. Now, in order to understand who or what Tron is, let's start from the beginning. It all starts in 1982 with a character named Alan Bradley. Now, he created a program called Tron. Also, that is another reason why the programs take the likeness of their creators, because it's sort of like creating an avatar in a video game. But anyways, what is the purpose of Tron? Alan Bradley basically created Tron as a security program to protect the Encom servers. Now, to get into specifics, you know how every program has a directive. Well, Tron's directive was to protect the Encom servers without bias, hence the reason why he was served as an independent program. Now, the reason why he wanted it to specifically be an independent program without showing bias to protect Encom servers is because the master control program was getting way too powerful. Now, the MCP is basically an AI, but the thing is, it becomes more and more powerful with more information. So, Master Control Program was basically like, I want to hack into the Kremlin, to the Pentagon, to the US government, to steal information, because that's what fuels its power. And that was the whole point of Tron, was to keep the Master Control Program in check. So that's basically what Tron is. Tron is a soldier who is meant to serve and protect. And that's exactly what Tron is. It's a title, it's a mantle, it's an objective, it's a revolution. And I'm going to get to the revolution part very soon, so please bear with me. This is where we get into the comic book. So we're going to be looking at Tron Betrayal, and it takes place directly after the 1982 movie. So Kevin Flynn basically gets Edward Dillinger fired because Edward was the one who stole Kevin Flynn's work. And because of that, Kevin Flynn becomes the new CEO of Encom. But here's the thing, Kevin Flynn had a baby with his wife. And that little boy is who we know as Sam Flynn. So because Kevin is growing into a responsible adult, he realizes he can't be on the grid and be in the real world taking care of his family at the same time. So he decides to make another clue, hence the reason why we get clue number 2. And that was the whole purpose of Clue. Kevin created Clue so that Clue could make the perfect system without Kevin actually being there, so he could run the company as CEO and take care of his family. This is the part of the story where Tron isn't a character anymore. It becomes a thing, it becomes a symbol, it becomes a revolution. Now, Clue started to get upset at Kevin because he was spending too much time in the real world and not on the grid, helping him create the perfect system. He was making a lot of changes. Now, Tron was very against these changes because Clue decided to create these digital games. And what was the purpose of these digital games? See, well, there's these things called ISOs, and they're basically self-generated AI that came from the grid. But Clue didn't really like ISOs because he saw them as anomalies, and anomalies can sometimes be imperfect. And mind you, his directive was to create the perfect system. So he created these digital games, right? And he unlawfully detained these ISOs to force them into playing these games so that they could prove if they are worthy or useful to stay on the grid. Now, Clue is a computer. He's not a human. He's not going to understand that perfection doesn't exist. So Clue, being entitled to having complete control of the grid because Kevin isn't around, he basically turns it into a fascist regime. This is where the revolution starts, because Tron, as a security program to protect the users and protect the Encom servers without bias, turns to Clue and says, I can't let this happen. I understand you have a directive, but my directive is to protect the users and the programs of the grid. So he saw that this wasn't the right thing to do, so he goes against Clue. So the next chance that Kevin gets into the grid, Tron basically warns Kevin like, hey, Clue is out of control. So they agreed to do something about it. Now, when Tron was warning Kevin Flynn about Clue being out of control, he quite literally meant he's out of control because he created a bomb to get rid of most of the ISOs because the games weren't working. So Tron, being the program that he is meant to serve and protect. So he tried his best to stop the bomb from going off. And he was successful at it, but still kind of lost. So even though Tron stopped the bomb from going off, they kind of lost the war overall. So now Clue and Tron aren't friends anymore. They're not partners anymore. This is the part where Clue goes full on dictatorship. Because Clue says to himself, Kevin cares more about the ISOs and the programs more than the system itself. And that's how Clue ended up becoming how he is, because he basically decides to take matters into his own hands. Because of Clue's dictatorship, it leads us to this version of Tron. Tron doesn't become a character anymore, he becomes a symbol of retaliation and revolution. Now that Kevin and Tron are basically isolated from the grid because of the dictatorship of Clue, he has to now wear a mask in order to protect the programs and the ISOs of the grid. Thus, him becoming an actual revolutionary. And this is why Tron isn't a character anymore. Tron is a title, it's a mantle, it's a revolution. And this is where it leads us to one of the greatest Tron installments of all time, which is the animated television show, Tron Uprising. Now, this animated TV show doesn't follow the story of Tron created by Alan Bradley. It follows the story of a program named Beck who takes up the mantle of Tron because the original Tron was unable to. So there you have it. That's basically the story of Tron and basically what Tron is and what he means. As per usual, stay woke. Have a great day.